Okay, fantastic. So welcome everybody to today's Commodities Corner, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. During today's session, we will be going through live market analysis. We'll go through a watch list of trade ideas. We'll be going through a forecast where we're expecting gold, silver, crude oil, and also the commodity currencies to be heading next. As always, we'll be answering questions and providing live support. Any contributions, you are very welcome to put those into the chat. So before we get into it, let me just introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading, and as internationally respected experts, our analysis and our opinions on the metals, the energies, and the agriculture markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, and over the last 10 years, myself and my team of experts, we have trained and mentored thousands of private traders from all over the world on our exclusive research-driven strategies. So for further information on our services, please just go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Also, make sure you go over to our YouTube channel as well, and that you are subscribed to enable you to be kept updated with all of the latest commodity reports as well. We just put out a fresh week ahead commodity report with our forecast of gold, silver, crude oil, and also platinum. So we'll move over and we'll just talk you through some of the narratives in the market at the moment, and we'll go through, of course, some trade ideas with you right now. Okay, fantastic. So just a very quick check-in. Everyone can see my screen. Okay, yeah, fantastic. Thanks very much, Reese. Okay, that's great. So first of all, we just have a rundown of some of the top movers at the moment. We're actually seeing a few reversals right now, and there's several trades that we're in right now, particularly two in particular that we've executed today, and we'll go through those in a bit more detail with you. So first of all, if we have a quick look at the biggest movers today, we've seen certainly pressure to the downside, as we've actually covered in our week ahead report here, which has included platinum, which is down almost 3% on the day. That's, of course, after last week platinum broke out to 6-month highs. We've got silver right now, which is sitting around that $15 handle and down 0.81% on the day. And we have gold right now, which is finding a bit of support at $1,286 per ounce, which is down about 0.5% on the day at the moment. So we're seeing overall strength in the dollar, which is up 0.25%, also putting some pressure on euro and the pound US dollar, which we're actually selling short at the moment as well. Australian dollar is holding up around the 0.78 handle right now, and we've also got the gold to silver ratio, which is slightly up on the day to US dollar CAD catching a bid, and also oil, in fact, where we have a long position, in fact, on oil right now, is up 1.5% on the day right now. So what I'll do, I'm going to actually take you over to my charts. We'll go through some of the price action that we're seeing at the moment. We'll have a look at the daily, and then we can go higher time frame and just talk you through really what we're anticipating for the week ahead, some of our trades that we've got on right now, and the overall strategy for this week. So first of all, on Thursday this week, we have the European Central Bank announcement, and on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. Normally, the first week of the trading month does tend to be positive for the US dollar. As a general rule, the first week of the month tends to be one of the strongest for the whole month in terms of pressure to the upside for the US dollar index. And right now, we're seeing that certainly come to fruition. We have shorted the pound again here last night of the open, where we've taken advantage of a gap up, which gapped right up towards a 1.325 handle last night. We shorted into that, and at the moment, in fact, on the remainder of our trade, we are up right now approximately about 75 pips or so on this trade at the moment. So we're continuing to see pressure to the downside, and you can in fact see here where on higher time frames, certainly if you go over to the weekly chart here, we've broken out all the way back up towards the upper end of a channel here, and actually quite a major zone as well with respect to a resistance zone at the 1.33 handle, and we're finding resistance at that layer, and we've also started to roll over on the dailies here. So if you have a look at the inside candle, You can see here we've broken down from an inside candle setup going back to last week on Thursday, broken below the daily lows, and we've continued to see some pressure to the downside. And we're sitting around the lows here from Friday at the moment as well. So we're testing those lows right now. And the anticipation is, in fact, that we will break down back down towards the 1.31 handle over the course of this week, which from where we are right now would represent potentially another 75 pips or so downside pressure. So we've essentially got a sell short on the pound US dollar at the moment, and we are expecting the potential for more downside over the course of this week. Now, for those of you who did watch and check in with our week ahead commodity report, which we just put out on YouTube at the weekend, you can see here where that's actually now come to fruition. We've broken through Friday's lows, had quite a considerable move lower here so far, started in the Asia Pacific session, has gained up momentum to the downside throughout the London session and into the US session this afternoon as well. So you can see platinum right now, it's now down 3.5% for the month, and that's after breaking out to 6-month highs just last week. So we're rolling over, building up some pressure to the downside at the moment, retesting $833 per ounce here. Platinum is actually starting to come into an area of some support, and we've got that key level around the 830 zone at the moment, where we're getting some slight degree of support, previous level of major resistance, which is giving us some support at that level right now. So you can see certainly from a trending point of view and from a higher time frame point of view as well, we've just really tended to ricochet between support and major resistance. We've continued to be a buyer on platinum each time we've had a revisit back towards $800 per ounce, but we've very simply completed the move here last week, made a rally back to $876, found resistance at that zone, and of course we've already broken back below last week's lows here. Platinum is under pressure, and in fact if you went for that for a sell short based off the Sunday open or overnight on the Asia Pacific session, the move here is up about 250 points at the moment. But we are now starting to get into a major level of previous resistance, which may well provide some support at that zone. That brings me over now to have a look at gold. So if we have a look at gold here, based on the weekly chart, you can see certainly where last week we seem to have completed the move where we broke out to $1,345 per ounce right at the end of February, and that was the completion of the January effect move that we've seen in play for really the last couple of months or so, as we've continued to see momentum to the upside throughout the month of January and also throughout the month of February as well. Where we're at the moment with gold, we're actually also testing a major layer here of support, which is around $1,286 per ounce. And you can see where it's getting a little bit of a bid at this moment around that layer of support. But from a trending point of view, we are now back below the ATMA. We're back below the 21-day moving average. And we have also broken below quite a lot of support here as well as of the breakdown on Friday. The expectation over the course of this week would be a range on gold of approximately 200 points. And I would be looking for a range of between that 1276 zone up to the 1300s. What we could see is the potential for gold to get a bit of support as we head into Mario Draghi's press conference on Thursday. So potential for a rotation back towards that $1,300 per ounce level. And then from there, we might encounter resistance again and see more pressure to the downside over the course of this week. Usually March is not such a strong month for the metals. However, we've already seen a fairly sizable sell-off over the last 3 or 4 days here. So short term, we're getting a bit overextended to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised to see us hold within that range over this week. So around 1275 up towards the 1300s. My favorite trade right now is the sell short on platinum here, which has already really picked up momentum to the downside. Selling short into the pound US dollar, where we're up now on the trade about 70 pips or so on this sell short. So I like that for a trade at the moment. And we've also executed a long position on oil here too. Now, oil we've discussed numerous times, where overall our profit target that we're looking for ultimately on oil is a break back towards $60 per barrel. If you have a look at the higher time frames here, you can see certainly on the weekly chart, we have been developing quite a solid base here on oil. And if we move over to the monthly chart as well, you will see where certainly we've been developing quite the rebound in price over the last couple of months. In fact, oil off the lows here, which formed going back to mid-December, oil is up over 25%. On the monthly chart, it's very visual where we've come back for a retest back towards that $55.73 zone. We're seeing support come in at that layer, which was a major level of resistance as well, going back to January of 2017. That major resistance zone has now turned into support. And you can see here where we're springboarding off that level even today as well. A retest of that zone, we're seeing a bounce. Normally, we do see bullish momentum to the upside over the month of March, and where we're at the moment, we've come back in towards the lower end of the trend channel. So far this week anyway, we've come in for a retest back towards the 55.75 handle, finding support. It's up about 100 points off those lows. We've actually executed a new long position earlier on today, and where we are right now, the expectation is that we will revisit the swing highs from last week and then continue to ricochet in price between major support and resistance. So ultimately, we're looking for just a continuation of this consolidation over this week on oil, but then higher prices as we continue to transition between now right the way through to the end of the month in March. But we've certainly come back down to a major level of support. We're bouncing off that layer, and where we're at right now, the expectation is that we will continue to drive higher over this month. And if you look at this from a very simplistic point of view, in terms of major moving averages such as the 21-day moving average, you can see here, whilst we remain back above that zone and layer of support, oil continues to get bought. So we continue to see support come in for crude oil right at that previous level of major resistance turn support. And you've also got some very simplistic moving averages on the chart as well. Now, today has actually been incredibly, there's been so much going on today just in terms of the markets and even in terms of just things going on with the gold and silver club. From a positive point of view, we've seen a lot of price action today. It's been really busy with trades and so on. So if I sound slightly out of breath, it's because I've been on call after another today. So I'm a little bit more than usual in terms of things going on today. So I'll do my utmost just to keep you updated, guys, with respect to the trades that we're in, but there's been a lot going on today. So just to give you a little bit of a glimpse of that, we've gone for new positions here. We've been selling short into the pound US dollar, and that's moving really well in our direction. Platinum has worked out in terms of the sell short that we have been anticipating here as well. What I'm looking at now for the remainder of the week at the moment in terms of trade opportunities would be the potential for US dollar strength. So I am looking out for the potential to break above the weekly highs here and breaking back above. Essentially, I'm looking for a break back above the weekly highs here. And what I typically tend to observe, particularly on US dollar correlations, so such as the US dollar Swiss franc, US dollar Japanese yen, or the US dollar index, is what I'm usually looking out for here over a week where we've got European Central Bank announcement and non-farm payrolls, is a break above the neckline and also a break back above the weekly highs here as well. So what I would look out for this week, you can see the US dollar Swiss franc very clearly on the weekly chart at the moment, where we've been building up some resistance overhead around the 1017 zone. If we were to get a break above the weekly highs here, I would be looking for a potential to enter a long later on this week and then look for a retest back above the swing highs, which I could see certainly from the current price right now, delivering approximately 100 pips if we were to see that sort of price action. The way I would look at this on the US dollar Swiss franc at the moment would be a bull flag formation lending into a breakout to the upside. So essentially, if we were to get some additional follow through here, break back above the 21 MA, break back above the weekly highs here, that is where we could see some follow through, and I would be looking for a long opportunity on the US dollar Swiss franc later on this week with the potential to reclaim back towards the swing highs here. So from a trade idea point of view, that is on the radar. We haven't executed a long on that yet, but I am looking out. If we break above the weekly highs here, I'm looking at potential long opportunity on the US dollar Swiss franc as well. For the time being, I'm also looking out for the S&P 500 here as well. We were long last week, banked our profits on that. We're pulling back again here. The major zone I would look at here is around the 2,790 zone. If we were to come in for a retest of that layer and we did see evidence of support coming in on the lower timeframes, that is a zone that I would look for potential fresh buy opportunities to come in right at the lower end of that major trend channel. So far, that has proved to be a great opportunity to buy back into pullbacks on the S&P 500. Each time we've come right back into that layer of support, and you can see that very clearly, that has been an optimal zone to look to buy back into the S&P. And although we seem to be getting into this overhead level of resistance, which is residing at the moment around 2,815, I'm still ultimately looking to be a buyer on pullbacks on the S&P whilst we maintain this overall upward trend. So whilst we maintain certainly above all of these previous swing lows on the chart, I would perceive pullbacks as potential buy opportunities. So if we do pull back towards the recent swing lows here, so around the 2,780 to 2,790 zone, that is an area where I would be looking to buy back in essentially on the S&P 500 in order to take the price back towards 2,815 and then above that up to 2,830. That's what we're looking for over the course of this week on the S&P 500. Now, other trade opportunities I'm looking at this week as well. We've got silver, which has had a fairly sizable sell-off from Friday. We're coming back into a major layer of support. So that is at the 15 US dollar level. And this is where I really want to see whether silver is either going to hold at this level or whether we're going to break through and make a move back towards approximately the 1475 to 1488 zone. 15 US dollars per ounce will indeed be a major level on silver. So if we do retest that zone, I would be looking for potential support to come in at that level. A lot of buyers who've been looking to accumulate positions on silver, who may have been patient on this and looking for more optimal levels to get in, I would suggest the 15 level could be quite a serious zone here of support where you do see buyers come back in. But that said, you want to look for evidence of buyers coming in at those levels at lower time frames. You can see certainly on the weekly chart, we're continuing this momentum to the downside from last week's break of the weekly low. Normally, the month of March does tend to be a negative month for silver, and we do have the European Central Bank announcement on Thursday as well, which normally does tend to be a negative for silver price as well. However, we had quite a considerable sell-off on Friday, and we are starting to get into quite oversold territory just short term here. And usually on silver, what you tend to see is previous levels of major resistance then turning into support, and I would definitely be watching that $15 level over the course of this week. But I would be patient and wait for opportunities to result from the European Central Bank announcement on Thursday and also Friday's non-farm payroll announcement as well. Euro US dollar is another one which is now broken back below last week's lows. In fact, if you have a look at that on the daily chart, you can see here very clearly where we've broken below Friday's lows. It does look also vulnerable to more downside. We've gone with a sell short on the pound US dollar. That is representing, in my opinion, a better risk to reward here, especially if we break back below Friday's lows and continue to accelerate lower. But the Euro USD will also be a direct inverse correlation to the US dollar. So if the US dollar does continue the momentum higher and we continue to break out on the US dollar, the anticipation is that we should then roll over with the euro and get more pressure to the downside on the euro US dollar as well. And you can see here, just looking at it from a raw chart, on the weekly chart, we've broken back below last week's lows. And also on the daily chart here as well, we have broken back below the swing lows here as well, broken back below the last 2 or 3 days of consolidation. And we're now back below the 21 MA, 80 MA as well. So technically the overall trend is getting a bit bearish again. And if we were to break tomorrow back through today's lows tomorrow, that is where we could start to see a revisit back towards the 1.13 handle and possibly lower than that as well. The euro, I would certainly keep on the radar. The US dollar, Japanese yen, last week, it had a really strong close. If you have a look at that on the monthly as well, really strong close on the monthly too. And I definitely would encourage you to keep testing yourself. Go from higher time frame on the monthly, break it back down to the weekly, and then break it down to the daily. If we have a look at the US dollar Japanese yen on the monthly chart, we have already broken above last month's highs. We've continued to drive higher just over the last couple of days. Overall, the US dollar Japanese yen is definitely looking quite bullish right now, higher timeframes. The weekly chart as well, we pushed higher last week, up towards the 112 handle. I would look at pullbacks as potential buy opportunities at the moment. on the US dollar Japanese yen as well. Same situation really with the US dollar Swiss franc. And I would certainly encourage you to look at potentially setting some alerts up on the US dollar Swiss franc, because if we do break above last week's highs, that would be potentially a good long opportunity here as well. Today, we've actually come in and retested the 21 MA, found some resistance at that level. So we do need to just break out ever so slightly higher on the US dollar Swiss franc in order to confirm that. But I would keep an eye on that for the time being. The Australian dollar US dollar has retested the swing lows, which reside around the 0.706 handle. And you can see here, especially if we go over to the weekly chart, where on the weekly chart, we're looking a bit vulnerable if we were to break below those key swing lows. In fact, on the monthly chart as well, we're coming into a lot of support around the 0.7018 handle. But at the same time, if we were to break below those lows, it would be quite vulnerable to more downside. But we're just about finding support at those levels at the moment. If we move it over now and have a look at the daily chart, also coming into quite a lot of support around that 0.706 handle as well. So I want to see how the price action does develop at that zone, whether we either springboard higher or whether we roll over and break below the lows there. So for me right now, Australian dollar, US dollar is in wait and see mode, but I am looking out to see which way that's going to resolve itself. And then lastly, you have the US dollar, Canadian dollar, which is also catching a bit off the back of US dollar strength as well. You can see where certainly on the weekly chart too, you have a bullish engulfing candle. You've got this overhead level of resistance around the 1.334 zone. However, I would keep an eye on oil as well. So you've got this very strong inverse correlation with oil. Generally speaking, when oil starts to break out to the upside, that's when you can see pressure also on US dollar CAD to the downside. And the Brent crude oil and WTI crude oil have given us a buy signal today. So I'd watch out for the potential to see this run out of steam, possibly on the US dollar CAD, as it starts to come up to overhead resistance at the 1.333 handle. And it's still really moving between those ranges at the moment as well. So we've been moving between 1.312 up into the 1.333 zone, and we can really continue to consolidate and ricochet within those zones of support and resistance. So I really want to see where this will resolve itself. But whilst we do have US dollar strength, I would look at the potential for a little bit more upside on the US dollar CAD and also the US dollar Japanese yen as well. We will be back here on Friday for a post non-farm payroll session with you. And we've also got another session on Wednesday, which is going to be going through commodity currencies in more detail with you, how to trade commodity currencies. So basically the trading plan at the moment between now and Wednesday, at least anyway, is we're looking for pressure here on platinum, which to a certain degree has actually completed the move now. It's broken down over 250 points. That sold off quite significantly. We've got a long position on oil at the moment, and I'm still looking for a potential to come all the way back up to the upper end of this range over the course of this week. And we have a sell short position on the pound US dollar. Those are my favorite trades right now. I am looking though at the potential to go long on the US dollar Swiss franc. I'm not long at the moment, but I'm looking for potential to go long on the US dollar Swiss franc. I may also look at a sell short on the euro US dollar as well. Those are the two trades that I'm looking at really within the next 24 hours or so right now. Those are two setups that I'm keeping an eye on. And I also want to see how gold is going to respond to this 15 US dollar zone. So I just show you on lower time frames what I'm looking at there. So silver right now is coming in for a retest at that $15 level. It's getting a little bit of support at the moment. It is quite overdone, but I want to see how it reacts to a test of that level. Same way that gold is also retesting 1,285 to 86 US dollars per ounce, which is also quite an important level on the chart here as well. So watching out at the moment, but not getting back into gold just yet, just waiting on that right now. So I hope that helps, guys. It gives you a little bit of clarity with respect to the trades that we are in right now. Bit of a trading plan with respect to what we're looking at this week. So a couple of points to note again. Thursday, you've got the European Central Bank announcement. And Friday, we've also got non-farm payrolls. We'll be back here with more trade management and going through more detail on Wednesday's session. We'll be going through commodity currencies with you in more detail. If you want to go through more elaborate research and more details with respect to fundamentals and also forecast for this week, make sure you go over to YouTube, search for the Gold and Silver Club, and that you sub to our channel, and make sure you go through the latest report as well. If you would actually like to be kept updated real time with the exact trades that we're taking, and also become a member of our successful community at the Gold and Silver Club, there is an opportunity for you to do so. Very simply, the link is here. It is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. The link is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. And once you've made an application, you'll be able to essentially have a conversation with respect to joining us at the Gold and Silver Club on our live trading room program. As a member, you get access to exclusive live trading room webinars, real-time trade alerts, as well as trading research and market insights, access to our private members academy website, and also access to support and mentoring as well. So again, the link to join is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Okay, fantastic. So with that, thanks again to Sharice and the team at binary.com for hosting today's session. We'll catch you here on Wednesday as well for the next training. I wish you all good trading. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, all the best. Take care, and bye for now.